Ich habe über Kriegsgefahren geredet, das ist nicht richtig gewesen.
And last but not at all least, Isabella.
Thank you. So I'm very happy for this round of questions because I think that so some of unavoidable points for the future discussion of these 2 days have been raised. And one of these is that the possibility for Blockupy to take a stance on the side of migrants, given that we recognize this as a huge turning point. And this also this does not mean simply to pass from austerity to migration. It's a more complex problem, but still I think we cannot leave to the institutions that we criticize so much the expression of a position on this issue, and while remaining silent on this. I also totally agree with the fact that it might be useful to turn to the causes of migration, but I think that migration is power in practice, as Andrej says, and crossing the borders is a revolutionary act, and we cannot allow ourselves to downgrade and downscale this revolutionary movement that is crossing Europe by turning it into a matter of like high politics or of just economy. So we have to take very much seriously this subjective power of mobility. And I think that claiming a resident permit for all and a visa for all and the freedom of movement is something that is useful in order to stress this subjective power of mobility and of crossing borders. And I agree with what was said about the fact that we have to turn to real movements, and first of all that of migrants, and second that of solidarity. But I think that we have not just to limit ourselves to these two big movements that have crossed the European space. There are a lot of other movements and conflicts, for example in the workplaces, that we cannot oversee, and also the issue of the social rights and of the social infrastructure. I think that cannot be thought in a separate way in respect also to the fights that happen in the workplaces and to the fact that austerity has meant a cut in wages and a worsening in the labor conditions. And a last point, I think that the fact that was raised that many people feel that the migrants are like affecting them directly because they are the guilt of the worsening of the conditions, living conditions, is of the migrants. I think this is a very important point that we should work on in building our political discourse in order to overcome this division that is well spread in society. And I think that if we have in mind this problem of the division and the fragmentation that we have to face in order to turn to the real movement, also the movement of solidarity and how to increase it and how to enlarge it is something, is a huge challenge, because we have to face through a common discourse that is able to create communication about different situations and different conditions of life and labor. We have to work very much on this. I think it's not enough to recognize the existence of solidarity. We have a higher challenge in front of us, and this is to produce communication among very, very fragmented situations.
Well, thanks, Isabella. Dare say we got the work cut out for us. Let's work it out over the coming days. Wir haben heute Abend versucht, einen Aufschlag zu machen zu dem allen, was wir in den nächsten Tagen gemeinsam bereden und verabreden müssen. Ich hoffe, das ist uns gelungen. Vielen Dank an die Orga der Veranstaltung, vielen Dank an die Übersetzung der Veranstaltung. Und selbstverständlich vielen Dank an Karin, Andrej, Isabella und Silvan. Gut, dass ihr da wart. Vielen Dank.